Atlantic Council, Ambassador Gina Abercrombie-Winstanley. Thank you so much for your time today. We just heard there from Kamala Harris some very strong words. Given that she's vying for the presidency in November, is her meeting with Netanyahu more consequential than his meeting with President Biden?
Well, they are both consequential, but certainly with the president's full support and the delegates that are going to be meeting in the Democratic National Convention, Vice President Harris is the way of the future. And she was indeed very clear. If you look at the description of the meeting, frank and constructive is very much a diplomatic term for frank words were spoken during the private part of that meeting. And she has given an emphasis that I believe the American people broadly support. That is the continued support of the state of Israel's right to defend itself, but not at all overlooking what devastation has happened in the Gaza Strip and getting it resolved now.
And what do you make of the momentum behind Kamala Harris at the moment? We just heard just then former President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama speaking with her on the phone, giving her their full endorsement.
Yeah, well, the landscape has changed 180% from a week ago. With the president's support thrown behind the vice president and her ability, as we've all been able to see, to gather and coalesce and energy and focus to ensure that she makes it to the White House is unprecedented. The financial haul tells the tale. But as many have heard about the calls that have gone on with different constituencies, which the vice president truly represent, that melting pot of America, and recognizing that we cannot take our democracy for granted. We have to fight for it, and we have to fight for a future that's good for all of us. The vice president represents that, and I believe that that momentum is going to continue for the next 100+ days.
Well, coming back to Netanyahu, we know that he's met with former President Donald Trump today as well. What do you make of that meeting? Traditionally, Republicans have always been the party that's keener still to most be aligned with Israel.
Well, I don't know that you'd say that. The support for Israel has been bipartisan over the years, very much bipartisan. There have been difficult times under Republican presidents. If you'll think about President Bush and Secretary Baker saying, you know, call me when you stop expanding settlements, under President Nixon. There have been difficult times even under Republican presidents. Just there have been more Democratic presidents of late. Nonetheless, the meeting with former President Trump, I suspect, was as frank and constructive as it was with Vice President Harris. We know that their relationship has had some ups and downs on the personal level, but the president, former president, has also been clear that this war needs to be wrapped up soon. He has spoken, many would say, in casual, perhaps even callous terms of the PR has been bad, but the PR that he's referred to is human life, the devastation that's been happening with the Palestinians. And the former president is right. The international community has not accepted that, this war can be prosecuted any way that the Israelis see fit. So as the vice president said, Israel has the right to defend itself, and the way it does it matters.
Now, I can't let you go without getting your thoughts on the presidential race. Out this week, a Reuters Ipsos poll that says Harris now leads Trump 44% to 42%. What do you put that down to, and what do you foresee over the next 4 months?
Yeah, I am not surprised. And another poll, several polls that show an overwhelming majority of Americans thinking that President Biden did the right thing by stepping back. So he did the right thing. He showed stature, leadership, putting country ahead of his personal desire for power. And by supporting the vice president, took that goodwill and put it firmly behind her. She is young. She's vibrant. She's what the American people were interested in when they talked about the importance of passing that baton. Well, President Biden has done so. Now we know where the oldest candidate is. That is President Trump. His vice presidential selection remains to be seen how well he can resonate with American voters. It is not yet proven. He's got some extraordinary, I would say, problematic positions that he said on women's rights. And this is an issue that counts with a lot of people, women, and the people who love us. So this change, I expect, is going to continue, particularly as the Democrats have their convention coming up. And you normally get a bump after the convention as well. So even as she improves now, that will continue.
Yeah,